Let's get some perspective on this and other stories. And for that, we turn to CBS News political contributor Leslie Sanchez. Leslie, good morning.
Good morning.
We're in this hyper-partisan adversarial environment politically, of course. And we heard the president say we must unify the nation, but at the same time asked if he would tone it down. He said he might tone it up.
Right.
How do we make any progress here?
You know, to do that, it really requires a self-examination of just how harsh the rhetoric is. And that's just a connection that the president refuses to make. And until he acknowledges some degree of culpability or accountability within our tribe, I would say the Republican tribe, then it's going to be very difficult to discount any type of fairness in this argument. And that's
as we approach the midterms here, it's not likely he's going to do that because he's trying to get his base fired up.
You know, the challenge with this is you used to say that people bit their tongues, especially on the right, and now they're just completely silent when it comes to something like this because the president wins, because the tactics tend to mobilize, activate a very disconcerted base. And a lot of non-traditional voters who've come out for the first time who feel the president may have sharp elbows, be very unorthodox, but he speaks his mind and they respect that. And more importantly, I think they respond to that and they turn out in the polls.
Might Democrats respond, though, also in the idea that this has been going on and there is so much anger on both sides about these issues?
Right. Reasonable minds would agree. And I would say suburban women, particularly who are watching this election, are agreeing that the tone needs to come down. There needs to be leadership on this. But we've yet to see that. There's that void there. At the polls, in our presidential leadership. But the question is, who's going to fill that void? Because somebody ultimately will.
So we've been hearing for the past couple of weeks about this caravan of migrants coming up. That's immigration, border security, long before they would actually reach here. Right. What are Democrats and Republicans, for that matter, seeing in terms of the rally of their base on core subjects like immigration, border security, and on the Democrat side about the economy, about health care, those key issues?
Right. Well, look, Republicans recognize that immigration is one of those areas that it's frenzied up and activated a base. Some of that is based on nativist fears. Some of that is a distrust of the Congress and the Republican Congress particularly to do anything on border enforcement because they harken back to Ronald Reagan, 1986. They're going to give amnesty to all these Central Americans, and they don't even want to talk about the 12 million plus that are undocumented living in the United States right now. So there's all of these problems with the failed immigration system, but you can rally on kind of these immigration talking points that get the base really motivated. That's a very dangerous area, but it has benefited the president.
Leslie, in this last moments, a couple of weeks before the midterms, there's a battle to sort of raise voter enthusiasm on both sides. Any sense of who has the edge there? Really
interesting there. I would say the Democrats on paper have done an extremely important job of activating young voters, non-traditional voters, those working class Democrats to come out, and they've actually balanced out with Republican gains that we saw in 2014, 2016. Question is, it's really mano a mano down to those individual congressional districts, and it's just all bets are off right now. Who knows?
All comes down to the election.
10 days away.
The day, 10 days away, as you said. We thank you so much, Leslie Sanchez.